Good evening, I'm Macy Marie. Sri Lankan officials are making arrests after coordinated Easter Sunday suicide bombings at Catholic churches and luxury hotels killed more than 200 people and injured hundreds more. CBS's News' Molalingi has the latest.
After the massive Easter Sunday attacks in Sri Lanka killed more than 200 people, authorities tightened security around houses of worship in the U.S. The explosions ripped through 3 Catholic churches as worshippers celebrated morning mass. They also hit luxury hotels.
We must also look into why adequate precautions were not taken in this respect. But first and foremost, we have to ensure that terrorism does not lift its head in Sri Lanka.
Officials say the coordinated attacks were carried out by a single group that has not been identified. More than a dozen suspects were being held in connection with the suicide bombings. Sri Lanka shut down social media and imposed a curfew in the capital, Colombo, after the attacks. The country is still recovering from a long and bloody civil war.
During the 30 years of civil war, we had lots of explosions in Colombo. We are used to our airport getting blown up and the central banks, things like that. But it's been 10 years of peace, and we got used to that.
Officials say a few dozen foreigners, including several Americans, are among the dead. Around the world, leaders condemned the latest act of large-scale terror. At the end of his traditional Easter Sunday blessing, Pope Francis denounced the violence and said he prays for the victims. Molalingi, CBS News.
No one has claimed responsibility for the attacks. Sri Lankan officials say religious extremists were behind them. And back here at home, a soldier originally from Richmond died in Iraq on Saturday. The Department of Defense says Ryan Riley was a fire control specialist stationed out of Fort Campbell. The department did not say how he died, but that it was a non-combat related accident. Riley enlisted back in October of 2016, and he was 22 years old. Yesterday evening, a body was found floating in a pond in Johnson County. Around 6 p.m., police got a call from the Paintsville Golf Course, and the people there said someone had spotted a body in the pond that was near hole 11. And whenever city officials got there, they also called in law enforcement to come check it out. They pulled the body from the water. The name of the victim has not been released at this time.
Well, I received a phone call about 6:30 that there may be a possibility of a body being in one of our backside ponds on the golf course. And upon arrival, it was determined that there was a body in the pond. And we have since then extracted that body from the pond, and there's an investigation continuing as we speak.
The body was sent to Frankfurt for an autopsy. We do not know the name of the person or how they died at this time. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to contact Kentucky State Police.
And it was a beautiful day here in the mountains, and even a more beautiful sunset. You'll notice that here one of our WIMT weather spotters, Alan Bowling, took this picture in Prestonsburg earlier this evening. Beautiful sunset behind the green trees, definitely looking like spring on this Easter Sunday. You'll notice satellite and radar. We've seen all those clouds get out of here. We are going to be looking at those mostly clear skies. I saw just a couple hours ago the stars are coming out. Absolutely beautiful. Temperatures, well, they're just a little bit chilly. Some spots into the upper 40s, most into those lower 50s. With those mostly clear skies will make it feel a little bit chilly throughout the overnight hours, but really we're going to see those temperatures really go down into about those mid 40s as we head into the overnight hours. Plenty of sunshine though returns as we head into your Monday. You'll notice 68 degrees by the time we get to right around noon, and as we head into tomorrow, we are looking at a very good day. Mostly sunny skies, those mid 70s return, and by Tuesday we could be near 80 with sunny skies, and Wednesday we're just going to give you a thumbs up because we are going to bring back those scattered rain chances, but the good news is they are just going to be scattered. We'll break down that full forecast coming up for you guys in just a little bit. Macy.
All right, thank you, Paige. As you might have seen, the campaign to be Kentucky's governor is well underway, but even though we're still about a month from primary election day, tomorrow is the deadline to register to vote. Some experts say that deadline is one reason voter turnout is so low here in Kentucky. Garrett Weimer has more on what you need to know to make sure you can cast that ballot.
Several big statewide races are on the ticket this year, including governor. But before you can walk in the voting booth to cast a ballot in your party's primary, you have to register if you haven't already.
It's no wonder Kentucky turnout is woefully low as compared to other states.
Voter turnout in the last governor's election back in 2015 was around 30%. That's less than 1 out of 3 registered voters actually showing up at the polls. On Kentucky Newsmakers, our own Bill Bryant talked with UK law professor Josh Douglas about improving that.
Other places have automatic voter registration where the state automatically puts people on the voter rolls given the information they have, or even same-day registration where you can register and vote at the same time at the polls. And those states have the highest turnout. In fact, a recent study showed that the states with the highest turnout have either automatic voter registration or same-day registration. The states with the lowest turnout have a registration deadline of 3 or 4 weeks before Election Day.
Douglas, an election law and voting rights expert, just released a book called Vote for Us that looks at voting rights reform. Douglas says Kentucky's restrictive procedures for absentee ballots and no early voting also discourage turnout. If you want to do your part, make sure you exercise your right to vote. Mark a couple of dates on your calendar. Again, Monday is the deadline to register. If you haven't registered or need to update your registration, you can do it online at govoteky.com. Primary election day is May 21st. Polls are open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
If you do need an absentee ballot, you can apply for one at your county clerk's office. The deadline for that is May the 14th. Over in Ohio, they will get nearly $6.2 million in affordable housing grants. The money comes from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The money is intended to help create and preserve safe and affordable housing for low-income families and those who are homeless. Tourists and locals on Easter Sunday reflected on the damage caused by the massive fire that engulfed Notre Dame during Holy Week. Meanwhile, on the right bank of the Seine River, a special Easter Mass was held for a swift reconstruction of the beloved monument at the church. No Mass was held in Notre Dame Cathedral itself, forcing worshipers to find other places to attend Easter services.
We know that probably the infrastructure is unstable and they don't want people close to it. We were hoping that maybe on Easter there would be maybe a Mass outside, but keeping everyone safe should obviously be everyone's primary concern. But it's still magical and she's still beautiful even from this distance.
And that was Christian Diaz, who is visiting Paris with his family all the way from Miami, Florida. A city with a history of water issues now marking an anniversary. It was 5 years ago this month Flint switched its drinking water source to a cheaper option for the city, the Flint River. Since then, more than 100,000 people were exposed to high lead levels in that water. This sparked a water crisis that gained worldwide attention. Looking for improvements, city officials say they're now working to replace older lead pipes. President Trump offered his condolences to the people of Sri Lanka. The president spent the Easter weekend in Florida, where it's sunny. The Democrats are talking up a storm cloud of impeachment. Weijia Jiang has more.
President Trump started his Easter Sunday at a Florida church with his family.
Happy Easter, everybody. Have a good day. A lot of great things happening for our country.
And in a chipper tweet, the president wrote, "I have never been happier or more content." But clearly the president is not happy about the Mueller report. He blasted it as a hit job and asked, "Can you believe that I had to go through the worst and most corrupt political witch hunt in the history of the United States? No collusion."
Will you testify before Congress, sir?
No comment.
At his own Easter service back in Washington, Special Counsel Robert Mueller remained silent. The president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, says his client is angry at Mueller.
Why wouldn't you be angry at someone who tried to frame you for a crime and accused you of treason when it is absolutely untrue?
He said even if the president had fired Mueller, it would not have been obstruction of justice.
At that time, he had several good reasons to fire Mueller. Mueller had substantial conflicts of interest.
Congressional Democrats are taking a close look at the 10 times the president may have obstructed justice, as Mueller outlined. They've issued a subpoena for a full, unredacted copy of the report and asked Mueller to come testify. Tomorrow, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will hold a call with House Democrats, some of whom are vocally pushing to launch the impeachment process, while others are more hesitant.
That's going to be a very consequential decision and one that I'm going to reserve judgment on until we have a chance to fully deliberate about it.
Republican Senator Mike Lee, a member of the Judiciary Committee, said on Face the Nation it would be a mistake for Democrats to go down the impeachment road. He said nothing in the report changes his view of President Trump, and he believes most Americans would say the same. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Yesterday, we told you about a tiger attacking a zoo employee in Topeka, Kansas. Now, zoo officials are trying to figure out why the keeper and the tiger were in the same area. The exhibit is split in half with the tiger separated from the other tiger in cubs. Now, zoo staff are looking at what changes they need to make sure safety is a priority. Authorities in California are looking for a woman who threw puppies into a dumpster. The incident was caught on camera. You can see the woman drive up behind an auto parts store in Coachella. Police say the plastic bag contained 7 newborn puppies. This happened Thursday afternoon. A passerby found them and an employee of the auto parts store contacted Animal Services. The dogs are okay and now in the care of a rescue group. And over in Southern California, a whale in distress off the coast of Dana Point. It's believed to be a young gray whale with a fishing line wrapped around its tail. Scientists say it might be the same one that was spotted in the area earlier this week. Rescuers were dispatched in hopes of freeing that entangled whale. And still to come on Mountain News Weekend Edition, hear how an Eastern Kentucky group helped the Easter Bunny bring eggs and other surprises to children. Plus, to the south of us in Music City, they're already prepping for the upcoming NFL Draft.
And sunshine returns for the new work week, but when do those rain chances arrive? I'll have the full forecast in just a few short minutes.